Welcome back to Gold to Grandmaster. If you missed the last episode, check it out here. Timestamps for everything we'll cover in the description and the video player, so feel free to skip around. In this video, we'll focus on spawnblock maps. Don't know what those are? Let's get some background info out of the way first. In all games, you focus on map development and scoring, which require you to move towards the opponent's side of the map. On some maps, even when there are blocks placed all the way to the build limit, your forward movement is not hindered at all. On other maps, if there are blocks in your way, the only way to move forward is by mining or going around the blocks. This is called a spawn block. To some, placing a spawn block, also known as spawn blocking, is extremely toxic. To others, it's just a new skill to learn. It sets some maps apart from others and leads to interesting games. Still don't like spawn blocks? You're in luck. 19 of the 21 maps currently in the game are not full spawn block maps. The two full spawn block maps are Condo and Licorice. There used to be others like Twilight and Lighthouse V1, and a new one could be added at any time. There are also partial spawn block maps, which are Aquatica, Dojo, Galaxy, Lighthouse V2, Mr. Cheesy, and Urban. On a full spawn block map, you cannot jump from your spawn to the bridge without dropping down first. Spawn blocks here are dire and a major component of the gameplay. On a partial spawn block map, the way forward can be blocked off by a spawn block, but the path from your spawn to the bridge is not significantly hindered. Spawn blocks here are a significantly less important aspect of the map's gameplay, but can still be made as a useful form of map development. As with everything else in the bridge, you can defend against a spawn block or place a spawn block against someone else. Let's first focus on defense. If your end of the bridge is one block wide, a spawn block will be very effective in stopping your forward progress. A good way to stop a spawn block is by widening your bridge so you have more space to move around it. If you are spawn blocked by this wall and have no path to the side, your progress is slowed. If you are spawn blocked by the same wall but have a path on both sides, your progress is not slowed at all. The best way to beat a spawn block is to not be spawn blocked in the first place, so widen your bridge before your opponent gets there. How do you do this, you may ask? Introducing the pristine. A pristine is a method of preventative defense, performed by placing blocks on the sides of other blocks as you run across the bridge without stopping. Placing a pristine widens your bridge as you run forward, so you gain map development and pressure at the same time. Note, a pristine can also be used to widen a wing. We talked about wings in our last episode. As helpful as they can be, pristines leave room for your opponent to bypass underneath with cover so you can't hit them. Be careful of this. Good map development includes having a way to run up your bridge to get to the height limit. If your pristine is flat, you stay low and fail to gain any height on your opponent. So fix your pristine by making it go up every 4-ish blocks. This is the ideal slope for your bridge on a spawn block map, because it's hard to spawn block you, it's easy for you to move forwards, and you can run up to the height limit relatively fast. When playing solos, you should pristine to 3 wide or 5 wide when possible, and stack up for a height advantage as soon as the game progresses. So, how do you spawn block? Simple. Place blocks. Try to cover the entire width of your opponent's bridge with blocks and stack up. This is very CPS and aim based. As you spawn block, you may need to hit or bow the opponent down so they can't interfere. The wider and taller your spawn block, the more effective. Keep in mind, they can get low ground hits on you from below while you spawn block because their head is closer to your hitbox than your head is to theirs. Spawn blocking someone while they're attacking you can be tricky, but you will get the hang of it the more you practice, and you'll get into a rhythm of placing blocks under yourself and in front as you jump up, quite similar to stacking up at the beginning of the game. How do you defend if someone is actively spawn blocking you? Do your best to get up to them by placing under yourself, mining their blocks, hitting them, bowing them, and anything else you can. Getting full spawn blocked usually directly precedes losing the game, so do everything in your power to stop them. However, if you can't hit them away or they're too high, you can focus on just mining the spawn block while they place it. Try to carve out stairs going upwards. On Condo, you can jump from the side of your spawn onto a 5-block high pillar of a spawn block.
It's 6 blocks.
If you can place blocks around the side or break the top block. As you mine a spawn block, your opponent may try to jump over you and go for a goal. Be aware of where they are and be ready to switch from mining to PvPing as soon as they jump down. To a new player, a Hippo wall may seem similar to a spawn block wall, but they serve very different functions on different maps. Another aside, winging is very difficult to defend on full spawn block maps because counterwings are not effective. A good counterwing on other maps can start at the base and go forwards, but you can't place blocks here on a full spawn block map. Even if you do counterwing, your opponent can just spawn block that too. Winging on full spawn block maps is most effective in teams modes, but is still excellent map development in solos. Overall, developing well on spawn block maps is an entirely different game to developing well on all of the other maps. It determines who gets pressure for pretty much the whole game, is incredibly frustrating to lose to, and can make you hate the bridge altogether. Get good at placing them and mining them, and you'll be in good shape. Let's review. Today, we learned about spawn block maps. We learned how to pristine as a preventative measure, how to place a spawn block against someone, how to defend, mine, or get around a spawn block, and we also learned why counterwinging is very difficult on these maps. Remember, the best way to improve at the bridge is by playing it, so do your best to learn from all of your games and don't get too stressed out or toxic over a tough game. You'll get them next time. Next episode, we'll cover every PvP instance you will ever face in the bridge, so stay tuned.